Hello everyone. It's been a awful pandemic, but we've survived. And I hope you've all survived, because we're back with another Dead Turkish Mall arcade expedition video. Now, for this expedition, I'm gonna be going all retro with a 11-year-old Panasonic camcorder that I've restored specially for this video. So, masks on, brain off, and let's go. We're going down to Üsküdar, the famous Scutari of Florence Nightingale. We're taking the subway there. A lot has improved in Turkey since Florence Nightingale's time. So we're taking the subway to Scutari, to Üsküdar, and we will be exploring one of the old shopping arcades of this district. Now, this arcade is a kind of a legacy place, but as you can see, because of the neglect of decades and the COVID-19 pandemic, it's a pretty strange, almost depressing place with a glimmer of hope shining inside. We are at the Üsküdar Kapalıçarşı, that is to say, the Üsküdar arcade. And right off the bat, we're met with stairway signs announcing old book dealers. But before that, what's this? Spider-Man! The Hulk! Iron Man! Batman! Another Spider-Man! These are all bad knockoff toys of the Marvel Universe. And here's one more of Spider-Man joining the Turkish army, firing his machine gun in a suggestive pose. But that's just the introduction. That's just minute one. We've entered into this old arcade, and here I am. Oops. With this old camcorder, sometimes you get these glitches. And they're sometimes creepy, so bear with me. So this is a big complex. Here's some bottles of water and some old religious books. And as we go deeper into it, you will be just fascinated by just how deep it runs and how many strange details it is home to. I mean, just look at this. It's an old trinket shop. Zoom in. Here's some bills, a picture of an old classroom, old flashlights, a comic book of Oğuz Han, the Turkic warlord, and a book on Iranian literature, Persian literature, and off we go. And here's a sign of the Ottoman Empire. And here's a sign that says, "I don't want to be ruled by politics," because it's right next to this second-hand bookshop that sells books that few people probably ever want to read. I mean, these are just sold by the kilogram as atmospheric decoration for coffee shops and, just quirky book cafes. And here's a children's clothing shop, I guess. And here's some antiques. Nice mirror there, by the way. And here's a sign of the times. 14 rules against the novel coronavirus. And these are all the usual rules. Wash hands, stay apart, stuff like that. It's been tough. I mean, Turkey didn't lose as many people as some of the more developed countries did. But still, it was really hairy for a while. And I hope all of you viewers, you went through this experience with the minimal loss. I hope your jobs are fine. I hope your families, your health is fine. We are living in interesting times, as indicated by these interesting porcelain cats and toys and knick-knack in this nameless shop. As you can see, COVID hit this place pretty hard. I mean, 2 out of 3 shops, maybe even more, are closed. And those that do remain open are in this kind of confusing state of neglect. Here's a Tailors shop. Here's a shop that sells a blue canvas, some easels, old laser discs. Interesting. So a lot of these old shopping arcades, if you haven't become familiar by now, are home to these shops that just sell pretty much any old thing. And here is one wing of the Üsküdar arcade. The floors have holes which allow the circulation of air, also make for some great camera angles. And some floors are dead, but if you just seen the downstairs shops, it's a bit more lively down there. But here, the only shop I could see were these few knick-knack shops and this Şükran the Tailor. It's another rule of Turkish old arcade expedition that tailors are some of the most resilient shops, and they always survive in these semi-abandoned places. Here's a nice sky-lit piece of corner with lots of shoe boxes, a fire hose, and plants growing. Someone's tending to these plants. And the shoe boxes, I don't know if they all contain shoes, but they all add up to this atmosphere that I just want to bottle up and drink in. Look at this. It's really refreshing that unpredictable places like this remain, and it really gives me a sense of hope that someday, anybody with a little budget could open up shop here and life could return back to normal. Here are some empty aquariums full of green algae. Algae or algae? This is this old guy's tailor shop. And here is another wing of the arcade. And the LED signs really add up to the atmosphere. And here's a kind of toast place, but it says we're closed until the end of August. And if you could see from the date, I'm recording this on the 4th of August. So this guy's gonna be closed for a while. But this old guy is open, and he's all business all the time. Just look at it. I mean, this shop was completely closed, and some of its stock was just abandoned outside. Some notebooks, a skateboard with a dislocated wheel, and the other one didn't spin. So I just couldn't get on it and smash half pipes on this corridor. Here's a empty shop with a stock of holographic paper boarding up its windows. It's really beautiful to zoom into those. And here's another view. So this shop now with the LED sign sells empty print cartridges, printer ink, and it specializes in repairing broken down printers. But before that, here's a clothes shop with all sorts of yarn and scissors and more yarn. And here we are. Just drink it in. I mean, it's really nice. You could, with a minimum budget, probably restore some of these printers and use them and print out a book that spells out the story of your life. Everything finds new life in these old arcades. Printers, ink cartridges, bales of yarn, broken skateboards. Nothing goes to waste. And then on the right hand side, here's some pieces of board, some old paintings. This is another antique shop. This was actually a framer's shop, and the sign says don't go in without a mask, so I'm just zooming in. There was an old guy in there, but I didn't film in. And trade still goes on in these places. I mean, they've got their clients. And here, Üsküdar Birdhouse. The Scutari Birdhouse. Scutari as in Florence Nightingale. Well, Florence Nightingale, you're no longer recognized around here. It's a place for birds. I tried to peek in. I could hear some bird sounds, but I couldn't film any birds. And here's some knickknacks. The green tea kettle pot is actually really nice. I could use it at home. But it's a rule of these expeditions that I don't buy anything. Here's a religious painting of a religious figure from a branch of the final religion that thinks that paintings are okay. More empty hallways and LED signs. Scroll blindly. Now downstairs, we're gonna go there, is more lively. Here's two guys overseeing repairs, and we going deeper and deeper towards these staircases. Oh, here's a map of our country, Turkey, from the 1970s, I guess. And towards the right hand side, there's a flag, and it says, "Always expect the unexpected," which could almost be Turkey's national motto. Let's zoom into this map. Here is the Turkish capital. I was born there. I live here, Üsküdar. And we are here. Here's another tailor's shop, another mountain of printers, a flag wafting triumphantly. And here is the prayer house of this big establishment. But before going there, I'm gonna take a peek to the rooftop. Cars. How could cars get up there? I don't know. But let's go in and explore the prayer hall before anybody catches me. Now, it's not nice to get into these places with shoes, so I'm just zooming in from the doorway. And it really looks like a mosque. You know, old shopkeepers come here for their religious duties, and it's all fine, all part of life. That's where people store their shoes. And that's the pulpit where the imam conducts the prayer ceremony. It's all nicely integrated into the texture of life here. Let's go downstairs. Okay. Another tailor's shop, empty chairs. I'm not interested in this floor no more. I'm going down. And it's far livelier. Here's a jewelry shop, and a rule of thumb, jewelry shops hate seeing people filming around them. They think you're a thief, so I just passed really rapidly. Here's some Chinese shoes, an old store that sells sports goods, sportswear. Check out the square and rhombus action on the floor tiles there. And more clothes shops. And more inexplicable porcelain baubles. They're just beautiful to film, but I honestly wouldn't want one in my house. So you see, this floor is more in use and it's more active, so everything is kind of cleaner and shinier. And this is the office of a certain author and researcher and a ship modeler, and it was really nice. This is what I like about these old, disused arcades. So someone with pursuits as eccentric as a ship modeler could easily hire an office here and just do his thing, you know, sit there, make ship models and write books. And here's a store that sells uniforms, I guess. Here's a nurse's uniform. Here's a soldier's t-shirt, soldier's uniform, police uniform, soccer player's uniform, and the traffic cop's uniform. These are the wonderful career options available at this store, and a lot of patches with rah nationalistic insignia and roses. But it's a nice place. Okay, let's get some hygiene. Okay. I'm hygiening up. I could feel all the coronavirus leaving my body as I soaked my hands into this questionable mix of alcohol and liquid. And another shop that has some model ships and more squeaky, probably carcinogenic Chinese flip-flops. Fantasy Bijou. It's a place for people who want to buy beads with a fantastic atmosphere. That's what you get from the red light. And more regular shops, jewelers, shoe shops, bag shops, clients. Life is returning to normal after COVID. Everywhere we see these ladies buying things that they just couldn't during the quarantine. Here's some nice paintings of the sea. And a toy shop, which I haven't gone into, because we're going down to the lower level, which is even more dismal than the top level, and even more dismal than the middle level. Here are some. This is a knife sharpener's shop. It says Clean Work Sharpener's House, a place that sells paintings and posters of old Turkish classic films. I wonder what these films are like. Another empty shop, but this bottom floor was home to a lot of print houses, and these guys use old-fashioned printing machines, presses, to print wedding invitations or bills or anything you could imagine. And as you can hear, because of the lack of custom, they were just playing loud music and having fun. You know, there's not much to do in these post-COVID days. And this is what the hallway looks like. Another print office and a bookbinder's office on the left. A cat in our front. Nice 1980s rhomboid floor tile action. And an old, discarded, ink-based printing press that doesn't use computers. This was nice. And a lot of shops at this level still operate them. In fact, in this corridor, if you peer an ear, you could hear one. Let's try to see what it looks like. Here's the guy, and here's his antique and still functional printing press. And here is another printing press, just spitting out documents or wedding invitations or what have you. Just spit it out, man. And I really respect shops like this. Oh, here is a weird one. The Pinecone Association. I kid you not. That's what the sign says. A lot of child-sized chairs and a table. So maybe it was a kids club. I don't know. And here's another print house with a really nice old handmade vintage sign. Some more empty chairs. Some more floor action. And slowly we're coming to the end of our amazing expedition in Üsküdar, the old Scutari of yore, and one of the nicest, most intriguing shopping arcades in this district. I could have taken more time here, but I think this was enough for you to get the gist. And out there, up above, life goes on, almost as normal as it was before COVID turned everything into crap. But still, people are selling fruit, buying fruit, everyone is wearing a mask, almost everyone. But that's okay. Here's a guy selling hazelnuts, delicious stuff. And just drink it in. I mean, this was like the fourth or the fifth time in 5 months that I had gone out of my house. And it was to film this for you, all of my viewers. And it just filled me with such a wonderful sense of excitement. Even the most mundane details seemed like the most brilliant, euphoric manifestations of joy. And it was great. There was a blood drive. People were having fun. Let's see where this COVID roller coaster takes us all. I mean, I think the worst is behind us. But I hope none of us get sick after this point. And please stay safe. And life in Istanbul goes on despite the pandemic. It goes on as it once did in the summer of 2020. It was really fun just to go out with my 12-year-old video camera and film things, and it really gave this whole expedition a visual sense that I just couldn't get with a modern camcorder. But life goes on, and it goes on in part thanks to you, my supporters on Patreon. Thanks to Burak Hantal, Gregory Pham, Anne Slime, Ann Noble Seller, Jakub Bobrovics, Ryan Bix, MacLeod Harrison, Eugene, Nathan, Tall Green Boy, Thomas, Joshua, B. Birdie, Hammock God, Biblaridion, thanks man, Jerome, Lars, 44, Ezekiel, Kyle Rosenberg, Kevin Schreck, the greatest filmmaker, and Mike Trainer, and all of you others. Thank you all so much for partially making these expeditions possible. The sea goes on lapping with its waves as it probably did for billions of years, and life goes on. If you liked this expedition, please consider donating to me on patreon.com. Link is in video description. And thanks for watching. This was once again a CM Kosemen mall expedition. Take care.